Welcome back to another episode of On the Line. I am not in my usual studio today because this is a bit of an emergency interview I'm doing. As you know, the monk debates are taking place tonight in Toronto. Ehud Olmert, the former Prime Minister of Israel, and Tzipi Livni, the former Justice Minister of Israel, are in Toronto. This morning, the Canadian Lawyers for International Human Rights, the Hind Rajab Foundation, and the Palestine Center for Justice have filed a complaint with the Rcmp urging them to arrest and investigate Ehud Olmert and Tzipi Livni. This is for their involvement in Operation Cast Lead in the war on Gaza in 2008-2009. It is a 24-page report, which I will make available. I was able to secure an interview with Henry Off, the board member of the Canadians for International Human Rights. He is an international human rights lawyer. He spoke to me from The Hague. Don't miss this interview. Stay tuned. Henry Off, thank you. Thank you so much for joining me on such short notice. You are a member of the Canadian Lawyers for International Human Rights, which sent a 24-page document to the Rcmp today. And I want to read just a sentence from the document. Quote, "The Canadian Lawyers for International Human Rights, the Hind Rajab Foundation, and the Palestinian Center for Human Rights request the Rcmp to open an investigation into the past conduct of two individuals and issue warrants for their arrests on the basis of the following information and analysis. There are reasonable grounds to believe that Ehud Olmert and Tzipi Livni are responsible for war crimes and crimes against humanity." Sorry, let me back up there. War crimes, to believe that war crimes and crimes against humanity committed during the 2008-2009 Gaza war. Their acts are prohibited under Canada's Crimes Against Humanity and War Crimes Act. End quote. So you're urging Canada's Rcmp to arrest and investigate Ehud Olmert and Tzipi Livni. Olmert is Israel's former prime minister and Livni, former justice minister. Can you take me through what those reasonable grounds are?
Certainly, yes. So we're seeking their investigation and the arrest into these two individuals for what they did in the 2008-2009 Gaza war. A lot of the allegations are detailed in what we refer to often as the Goldstone Report, which was the United Nations fact-finding mission that investigated the conduct during the war. So essentially, the fact-finding mission found a number of violations of international humanitarian law, that Israel failed in numerous cases to take feasible precautions when they were bombing, use of white phosphorus in populated areas, many incidents involving deliberate attacks on civilians and civilian buildings, the use of human shields systematically, found arbitrary detention, the denial of humanitarian access to wounded. There's in our report, we detail several specific incidences. I think about 13 case studies. But the list really goes on, and this is...
It sounds like much of the things that are happening right now.
Yeah, definitely.
That you list in the report.
Definitely, and
In
just
what
going through
way?
it, it seems...
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Definitely, and just going through it, it really seems like a precursor to what's going on in Gaza right now. It's a lot of the same alleged crimes taking place, and a lot of the same violations of international humanitarian law, including denial of humanitarian aid.
And in the report, you cite that Canada is obligated to do this. You use the principle of universal jurisdiction. For people who don't know, can you explain what universal jurisdiction is?
Yeah, certainly. So normally when states arrest or prosecute people, those are people that committed crimes in the territory of the state or with some kind of territorial or nationality connection to that state. But universal jurisdiction is a principle of international law derived from treaties and customary law that basically allows a state to investigate and arrest people regardless of where the crime occurred, regardless of the nationality of the suspect or the victim, and regardless of any other territorial connection. And the reason for this is that these are considered crimes that are against the international legal community as a whole. And
Mm.
there's core crimes such as war crimes, crimes against humanity, and genocide. And in the past couple decades, universal jurisdiction has become quite popular, especially in Western Europe. It's been used to try many individuals from recent conflicts.
Has
And
Canada
states,
ever used it?
yes, Canada's used it twice in criminal cases against two Rwandan individuals
Hmm.
from inside Rwanda. And apparently there is an upcoming case in 2016 against an alleged ISIS member.
You mean 2026?
Sorry, so yeah, 2026.
In what way is Canada obligated to act?
Yeah, so Canada has both treaty-based obligations and some other obligations. For instance, under the Convention Against Torture, Article 7 requires Canada to prosecute or extradite alleged torturers found on its territory. And this is relevant to our case because one of the crimes alleged is torture. And also under the Geneva Conventions, mainly Canada has a treaty obligation under Article 146 to seek of the Fourth Geneva Convention to seek out and prosecute those reasonably suspected of grave breaches who set foot in Canada. So those
Mhm.
obligations are directly engaged by the presence of Olmert and Livni in Canada. And Canada also has an obligation not to be a safe haven for perpetrators of core international crimes. And in
Right.
parallel, it has the right to prosecute these individuals under universal jurisdiction.
Has any other country tried to go after Olmer or Livni in the past?
Yes. So there's been several attempts and complaints against both of these individuals. So particularly Livni. So in December 2009, a UK court issued an arrest warrant against her on the basis of her involvement in alleged war crimes committed during Operation Cast Lead. Um, the warrant was rescinded after they realized she wasn't traveling to the UK.
Mm.
There was another attempt or another complaint filed when she was visiting the UK in 2011, but she was granted special immunity in that case. And then there was other attempts to initiate criminal proceedings in other countries. So in Belgium, there was complaints lodged, and she was actually scheduled to speak at a conference in Brussels in 2017. But after Belgium announced they were intending to investigate her, she canceled her trip.
So you've set this sort of precedence for this. What sort of response have you received, if any, from the RCMP or the government of Canada?
Nothing at all. Um,
Mm.
and you know, this is a case that requires quick action, so we sort of
Yeah.
emphasize that in our report, and you know, some of the media on it will hopefully add some pressure to act quickly. But this is something that should have been on their radar as soon as they found out that Olmert and Livni were coming to Canada. I mean, we found out pretty recently, but yeah, this should have been on their radar to at least investigate them.
What do you make of, I'm not sure. Have you spoken to other media? Has anyone reached out to you?
Yes, a few. Just I think there's a few articles out there now, but
Okay. What do you make of Canada? I'm not sure how much you've been following this
mhm.
banning of Kneecap, the band, the Irish rap band. But, Canada, a Canadian member of parliament, parliamentary secretary came out and said, they're banned, uh, but they were allowing these war criminals in. I mean, what is this? What does this mean for Canada, this sort of duplicitous behavior?
Yeah, you know, it's a good question because, you know, it really kind of if they don't do anything about this, it really emphasizes some double standards, and it really emphasizes sort of prioritizing impunity over justice. And, you know, also another good example is last month, former UN Special Rapporteur Richard Falk was arrested, or not
Yes.
arrested, sorry, detained and questioned as a national security threat when we have 2 suspected war criminals coming to speak at Meridian Hall the next month, and nothing will happen to them, maybe. So it really shows some double standards when they call out some crimes but not others. And so this is something that we're really trying to add pressure on by filing this communication.
Well, I wish you all the luck, and if you do get a response, I hope you come back on and let us know what happens.
Of
Thank you so
course.
much.
Thank you so much for having me. Nice to meet you.